The mihoyo Genshin Impact team have found themselves in a difficult situation. Likely due to poor executive decisions, they are being met with every ounce of criticism possible from the player base. The player base is fed up. A recent example of this is the Genshin social team making a bad joke about wanting players to promote a troll account called Ella Musk. This account would reach such high follower counts that it would be popular enough to invite Elon Musk, whom the character Ella Musk is probably referencing, to stream Genshin Impact. This post was obviously a joke. The follower count numbers that they were suggesting are higher than their own official account followers. The post was celebrating 2 million followers for the official account. The idea of getting a troll account with more followers than the official one was a bad faith joke. Clearly, the social media team didn't read the room. Let's talk about this difficult situation the Genshin community finds itself in, and how I think we will soon enter a dark age of anything mihoyo announces will be met with criticism, even if it is generous, which gacha games tend to become 3 or 4 years later. Before I begin, I will note I am neither on mihoyo's or the player side. I am just a casual player who's trying to enjoy big titty anime waifus and couldn't care less. But it's important for us casual players to understand their discontent so we don't turn into a developer versus hardcore versus casual community. Let's talk about the difficult situation Genshin finds itself in. First of all, why are consumers unhappy? Is it because of anniversary rewards? Yes, but actually no. It was certainly the lighter, but who put the bomb there in the first place? I think the hot button topics of dissatisfaction stem from resin, artifact rates, gacha rates, endgame content, electro, and then anniversary rewards. Let's start with resin. mihoyo has built a system where you have a fixed amount of progression your characters can attain every day. There is nothing inherently bad about gating players' progress. Many games block players' progress to a certain extent in order to extend playtime, because it takes less time to play a good game than to develop a good game. I don't think most people have a problem with the idea of gated systems. So you use your resin to progress your characters, and you're exploring the world. And then you hit AR 25. Suddenly enemies get a little stronger and bosses get a little tankier, but it's not a big problem for your team at all. You'll beat it eventually. A new character banner comes out and you like the character and you summon the character. You raise the character and you play with them. Soon you reach AR 45. Then a new banner comes out and you summon that character. And then you attempt to raise that character. But you soon realize that you don't have enough resin to get enough resources to raise that character to the strength you need them to be in order to play them functionally in your world in a reasonable time frame. Despite getting access to stronger artifacts and more talent drops, you are still restricted to the same amount of resin you had when you were AR 25, despite needing more resources to build your character at AR 45. Something about this bothers you, but you decide to build this new character anyway. But everywhere you begin to see timed content that requires you to have 2 strong characters, and you've split up your resources among multiple characters. You are effectively being punished for wishing on new characters and building them, despite mihoyo doing everything within their power to advertise new characters. The biggest problem with resin is that it punishes us for pulling new characters. There's no point in pulling for new characters if you don't have the resources to build them. Looking at them is nice, and I'm a big fan of aesthetics, if you know what I'm saying. If you want those juicy good angles, you know where I'm staying. And if you want to see them in action, you know where I'm slaying. And believe me, nothing feels worse than pulling a new character and not having the resources to build them enough, leading you to get one-shot by these new enemies. And this problem is compounded when we consider artifact drop rates, the next topic of discontent. Artifact drop rates are really low, so you might spend an entire day's worth of resin on artifacts and get nothing worthwhile upgrading. But you also don't have enough artifact fodder to sacrifice into pieces that might be good if they roll into the correct substats. Finally, character rates are low, and there is no repeatable endgame content for the committed audience, which leaves them to think mihoyo doesn't care about them. It sends the message, we don't want you, we want the casual audience. After all, casual players complain a lot less. They often are middle-aged, have a family, kids, and don't play the game long enough to notice any of these issues. In fact, completing your resin and daily commissions could be a sense of completion for the average gamer, and completing something feels great. So why is all this discontent important? Well, think of it this way. Genshin started and it's at a score of 9 out of 10. A couple months pass and people notice some things. No resin, -4. Bad artifacts, -2. Bad character rates, -2. In 6 months, they made $1 billion on mobile sales alone. No endgame, -1. Now we are at 0. More months pass, and then we reach Anniversary. Anniversary is a time for the developers to trick the players into believing their wallets have not been exploited for the past year. It's a time of forgettance. We are supposed to forget low resin, bad artifact rates, low character rates, and celebrate all the good in the game. Top tier voice acting across all languages, superb environmental design, unparalleled music soundtrack and visual design, and cross-platform play on mobile, PlayStation, and PC, and cross-save on PlayStation, which does not happen. First of all, most games aren't cross-platform or cross-save, and Genshin does both. Genshin, by all accounts, should be one of the greatest free-to-play games of all time, and the Anniversary is supposed to remind us of this through generous rewards or a fun event, like domains don't require resin for 24 hours the day of the anniversary. Instead, they gave us nothing. 10 intertwined fates. Instead of giving mihoyo a +9 at the anniversary, they forced us to subtract another 2 points. And all the discontents that we were slowly forgetting or becoming accustomed to came flooding back. No resin, no resources, no characters, $1 billion in revenue from mobile sales alone. $999 million plus an extra million. One with 9 zeros behind it. mihoyo now has a negative PR score. And once you go into the negatives, everything you do is met with scrutiny and a magnifying glass of analysis. Anything that mihoyo announces now will be scrutinized. mihoyo's Genshin team is starting to enter the realm of Activision and EA, where nothing they do will be seen as good. The distrust in the community is so high that players won't recommend the game and actively insult voice actors alongside those who never liked the game in the first place. How did we get here? What happened to the Genshin Impact community? When did it get so bad? My hunch is that the community will continue to get more and more vitriolic indefinitely. There are very few gaming communities that ever recover from bad experiences or bad press. This is probably because once trust is broken between the developer and the player, it's really hard for the developer to regain that trust. Some companies opt to forego rebuilding that trust altogether and continue down their exploitative practices, like Activision Blizzard on World of Warcraft, which is going up in flames right now, and EA on their sports games, which also use gacha systems on children. Other companies burn their old product to the ground as a representation that they are starting anew and you should recalibrate your anger and expectations as well. These communities tend to recover, like Final Fantasy XIV, No Man's Sky, and Warframe, which are all now spectacular games, despite being met with a lot of criticism in the beginning. However, this PR move is very ballsy and it doesn't always work. What if you burn it to the ground and players don't come back? It takes a lot of resources and planning to do such a thing, and it's really dangerous if it doesn't work out. You don't get your investment back. It would have been better to just stay the course. mihoyo is obviously not going to do that. They have more than enough players to stay the course, so this means the community might never get a mental reset. Players will continue to get more and more angry. mihoyo could give everyone 90 wishes right now, but players still wouldn't be happy. Because it's no longer about the rewards or the wishes, right? Now it's about trust and communication, and there is no amount of generous rewards that can fix that. After all, the community now believes the only way mihoyo will be generous is through backlash, so any act of generosity will be seen as we deserve it. mihoyo is no longer allowed to be generous. Will the community ever be able to get back on its own 2 feet? Here's my answer. At the very least, I wouldn't bet on it improving soon, that's for sure. Not without a massive change in direction to somehow reset people's perceptions around the company, and that still might not be enough. It is popular right now to hate on Genshin Impact. Any video calling out mihoyo easily gets thousands of more views than positive ones. Clearly, people are searching for this type of content because it's lethargic to see other people speak the thoughts you've been thinking. We are all bonding through hatred over a game that we love. I might not be a part of the hive mind that hates on mihoyo unconditionally, but I think I understand their values and wishes. Believe me, mihoyo hasn't done themselves any favors. And if you are a weeb that just wants to enjoy Genshin Impact for what it is, I'm afraid we are about to enter a dark age of non-stop scrutiny and discontent. Buckle up, it's gonna be a dark ride.